Okay, so Vee Validate currently is at version 4, so it's kind of following semantic versioning. I wouldn't say strictly. Sometimes I introduce breaking changes without really meaning to do so, but yeah, I stopped doing that a long time ago. But anyways, so yeah, 4 major stages or releases, you would say. First one was for Vue.js 1, which is really old now, still being used by some people, but yeah. Second one was mainly an update for Vue 2, so there wasn't any breaking changes. So when you upgraded to Vue 2 from Vue 1, then you install Vee Validate version 2. Then during my service in the army, I realized maybe I can have a better API than the directive. So Vee Validate mainly used a directive to deliver the validation experience and logic, but it was becoming more and more limited. So one of the major shifts from Vue 1 to Vue 2 is the directive. In Vue 1, directives had instances, so it meant they could have state. But of course, it's not like it wasn't the recommended way to deal with directives, but I still did it anyways. With Vue 2, it's a little bit directives got like they are not instances anymore, they are just pure functions, and that made it harder to deal with the current API. So I kind of patched it around just to get it working, and then decided to maybe I should implement a better API here and using components. And this is where version 3 comes in. So version 3 capitalized on higher order components, and this was the main way to use Vee Validate. So it shifted greatly. There wasn't any kind of upgrade path between, and I'm sorry for this, by the way, but for everyone out there, but there is no way you can migrate from directives to components. Like it's almost impossible. So you had to think about, like, you had to reread Vee Validate documentation. You had to relearn it again because it was so different. And while working with version 3 across multiple projects, I had a lot of like short sites, like some stuff I didn't want to do that way, and I really wanted to change, but it was kind of too late. So either I had to do a version 4 and break again everything, or wait for Vue 3, which when the news came around for it, I started, yeah, maybe that's the milestone I'm waiting for to actually shift to the API I was actually thinking about. And the composition API really enabled that kind of change. So version 4 is also very different from version 3. It resembles it a bit, and it's still using components. It's still offering components, but it's all about the composition API. Like, even those components are just composition API wrapped in components for you, just so you can either try to upgrade, or if you don't like using the composition API, you can still use them. But still, the API like was really different also with version 4. So again, you had to relearn Vee Validate. And I kind of like, at some point, I thought maybe I should start a different library because each release is really different from the one before it. But I wanted to, I guess, capitalize on the popularity of Vee Validate and wanted to, well, I have a choice here. Either create a different library, but people will be wondering why there isn't Vee Validate for Vue 3, or just upgrade and people will eventually move on or move off Vee Validate. So